first myth was a request, and it revolves the long-standing claim that Who drummer Keith Moon once drove a car into a swimming pool. Few musicians in history have been as notoriously wild, if not out of control, as Keith Moon, and many of his exploits have become absolute music legend. However, though most might not believe it, this one is completely false, and it all stems from an incident in Flint, Michigan on August 30th, 1967. This date is significant because it happened to be Keith Moon's 21st birthday, and as the story goes, he was already completely wasted by the time the band hit stage that night. After returning to the Holiday Inn that they were staying at, a massive food fight broke out in which Keith Moon actually had one of his teeth knocked in. This quickly escalated and things got outright out of hand throughout the rest of the evening, and the only way they were brought to an end is when police officers had to take out their weapons to calm the people down. So where does this claimed Lincoln Continental or Lincoln limousine going into a swimming pool come from? Well, to tell you the truth, it actually never gets mentioned until Keith is doing an interview with Rolling Stone magazine in 1972. The hotel never mentioned it, newspapers never mentioned it, it's not in the police report, nothing. So as much as this has definitely become a part of rock and roll history, if you're looking for facts behind this one, there just aren't any. Sorry. My second myth today also came via request, and it's the question of whether or not Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil actually went to jail for killing a man. You might not believe it, but at its core and most literal interpretation, this is absolutely true, and it goes back to December of 1984. On the evening in question, Finnish hard rockers Hanoi Rocks had been partying with the band on the beach, and later that night, their band's drummer Nicholas Dingley and Vince Neil decided to go back into town to get more alcohol. Vince Neil was pretty drunk at the time, and en route to the store, he lost control of his car and smashed into another car in oncoming traffic. The occupants of the other car were both severely injured, and Dingley was killed in the crash. It was later found that Vince Neil's blood alcohol content was nearly twice the legal limit, and he was later charged and convicted of both driving under the influence and vehicular manslaughter. Vince Neil spent 2 weeks in prison, had to pay more than $2.5 million in damages, as well as do over 200 hours of community service for the crime. So as absolutely tragic as it is in fact true. Today's final myth actually came up in a discussion I was having the other day, and it's the claim that the lead guitar in the Beatles song While My Guitar Gently Weeps wasn't actually played by a member of the Beatles. Get as frustrated as you want about this, but it's 100% true, although the person who actually played it was not credited on the original release of the album. Coming off of the self-titled Beatles record that most people know as the White Album, While My Guitar Gently Weeps remains one of the finest songs in the entire Beatles catalog, and it was written by George Harrison, and they actually recorded it a number of times before they got to the final take. The fact is, George Harrison just couldn't get the sound that he wanted, and in September of '68, he was driving with a friend and talking about the song. After talking about it for a few minutes, he actually asked his friend if he'd mind playing lead on the song, and the friend in question was initially quite hesitant, as we all know almost nobody but the Beatles play on Beatles records. Eventually, this friend agreed to do it, and the take that he played on was the one that was officially released. So yes, it's absolutely true that the lead guitar work on the Beatles song While My Guitar Gently Weeps was played by a friend of the band. That friend's name? Eric Clapton. Maybe you've heard of him. So those are the myths for today. Be sure to check back here every Thursday as I delve into some of the coolest stories in music history, and be here every day for all the music news, reviews, and knowledge you'll ever need.